Joe Flacco was going to give him the best chance to win in the here and the now. And I think that was clear in camp, especially after Kenny Pickett got hurt. And by their actions, they showed that they viewed Kenny Pickett as really the only real competitor to Joe for the job at that point. They gave Dylan Gabriel some first-team reps. And then, Shedeur was sort of treated a little bit more like the developmental guy. Looking back at it now, Kenny by far had the best chance to beat out Joe, and obviously injury affected his ability to do that.
Listen for the MMQB's Albert Breer, Tuesdays at 5:20 on Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
I would say I learned life in a different perspective, and that's why I come here. I'm happy. I always got good energy because, I'm blessed to come out here every day. Regardless of the situation, regardless of anything, I know my time, whenever that is, I'll be ready for it, and I'm going to embrace that. But in due time, I got many things I need to fix, many things I need to work on, and I'm not oblivious to that. So all I look at it as I'm getting more time to cook. I'm getting more time to warm up. That's all it is.
Boy, we're going to have some audio for you at 8 o'clock from Eric Dickerson. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on right now, a lot of conspiracy going on right now. He's handling it as well as anybody could. I mean, he's being asked about the conversation. I mean, he did get asked about Dylan Gabriel's comments at halftime of the preseason game against Philadelphia. He's being asked about all these other things, and he's handling it as best he can. Here's Shedeur.
I don't think about anything. If it's not words or anything, at this point, it can't do anything to me. I know, the God put the ability and the power within me to not even think about nobody else's comments, not care. It is what it is. I spoke with him. He said, nah, bro, that wasn't. He said, that wasn't. He told me on the plane. He came up. He was like, nah, bro, that wasn't at you. I see how they trying to spin. I'm like, oh, all right. I'm not tripping. Regardless of whatever it was, nobody's words or anything affects me.
I'll be quick with it because I know people got so mad that we were talking about it on Tuesday. Damn it. I said, oh, well, I wish you would have never said it in the first place because obviously it invites unnecessary criticism towards him, even if he had said it before or whatever. But the only person who could really fully put out the fire is Shidor Sanders. And he's done a good job of trying to put out that fire. Going back to it, somebody asked, well, gosh, we're spending so much time talking about the fourth stringer because that's who Browns fans know deep down has the best chance to dig him out of this QB hole. That's you all know it. I know it. The American people know it. Of the four guys they got, where's the impassioned Kenny Pickett people? Where are the Kenny Pickett people who are so damn passionate that they have to see Kenny Pickett? Where are the Dylan Gabriel people who are so damn passionate that they got to see Kenny Pickett? I've had more. There's definitely been passionate Joe Flacco people. The two quarterbacks. You want to power rank passion with Browns fans with their quarterbacks? It is Joe, Shedeur, probably Shedeur, then Joe, and then there's this vast crevasse. And then there's the other two.
I don't even really see that much in the way of Joe Flacco fervor. It's more that the people that support Joe, they're just like, all right, that's the logical, that's the smart way to just start the season. But even
it's the Tiffany quarterback.
I don't even think those people are really gearing up for a full season to Joe.
No,
I think they're just waiting for him to pass the torch.
I think that's probably where it is, but I think a lot of people have a ton of respect for Joe with what happened in 2023 because that thing could have went right down the you-know-what, and it didn't. So I think a lot of people have respect for Joe, so they'll get passionate about Joe. Again, if you're willing to stand 2 hours in line down in Hartville for that guy's autograph, there's definitely a fan following and a passion for Joe, and rightfully so. We don't go to the playoffs very much around these parts here with this football team. And then the other guy would be Shedeur. The other guys, what passion are there? What passion is there? Because deep down, he's the best chance to get you out of this QB hole. And you guys don't want to talk about fourth-string quarterbacks? I know damn sure you don't want to sit here already on September 8th and talk about quarterbacks that are already in college football who are going to be coming out in the draft. That's what you really want to avoid. I'll talk Shidor Sanders up one side, down the other, left, right, center, doesn't matter to me. I'll talk about Shedeur Sanders all day long. What you really don't want to sit there and talk about is, how did Cade Klubnik do? Well, I know they played Louisville yesterday. Did anybody watch ACC football with Clemson and Louisville? Okay. Yeah, because if you don't want to talk Shedeur, that's where it is.
That's going to be going on all year regardless.
That's going to be going on between us, but the fans don't want to do that. The fans want to see that guy. And I'm willing to be patient, certainly willing to be. If somebody says, well, they're proving it that you guys want to play everybody right away. If anybody's been saying I don't need to play anybody right away on this station in 14 years, we're almost celebrating our 14-year anniversary, it's been me. Go ahead. Let him. He's not there to rot. He's there to grow. And I don't want to look at it as a point where he's rotting. I didn't want to look at it as it's a failure of tests. It's early in this process. No matter what any conspiracy theory we want to make up, whether it's true or false, or we don't know yet, but whatever conspiracy theory we want to think of and think is true, they're looking at it going, this guy is an investment because I did see him play well. My issue is I don't know how much time we're going to really have with him because circumstance may change. And I want to get out of this hole that we've dug. And, yeah, I like a good story as well. Tone, I don't know where you stand on it.
I think that it's pretty clear, though. The reason I bring up the test thing, I know you didn't love what I said about it, but what else could possibly explain why he's behind Dillon Gabriel? He must be failing. Forget about comparing him to Flacco. There must be something that he is falling short on that has him behind Gabriel.
But is it a failure or is it just he doesn't have the tools yet?
They've both been injured, so it's not. You can't use injury as a reason one is ahead of the other. Everybody that has been at camp every day has said it's not even close in terms of the special throws, right? The ability, this is where the ceiling part comes in. That doesn't mean that Dillon Gabriel's he's throwing all incompletions. I know we see the numbers that people have been, charting from throw to throw. I think some people have been a little unfair to Dillon Gabriel in that regard. But in the end, if everybody is saying that Shedeur is the guy making the brilliant throws, those sparkle, those dazzling plays, give me any other reason that Gabriel would be ahead of him other than, the stuff where they sit in an auditorium and have their notebook out. That's the only other reason I could imagine that Shedeur is behind Gabriel.
But I don't look at it as a failure. I don't think they are giving tests for any one of these guys to quote unquote fail. And maybe I'm picking apart your words here, but I don't look at it as a failure. I look at that they're taking both of these guys, if we're going to be fair to both these guys, and putting them in a position to grow. Well, Dillon would obviously be further along in the process. That's how they feel about it. So that's a natural order of things. Whether I think that he's got the ceiling or not, that's inconsequential.
I could understand that day one because they took one in the third round and one in the fifth round. But Shedeur hasn't been able to jump over that.
Really, how many chances have they given either guy to go over? I mean, they've given Dillon Gabriel chances. They gave very few chances to Shidor Sanders. That's based on trust coming in.
So why has Shedeur not earned the ability to change that perception?
Probably because of his knowledge of the offense.
So he's failing that test.
But I don't think it's a test to fail. He might just be further away from knowing the offense than what Dillon Gabriel is. Is that not so hard to comprehend?
It is. It actually is really hard for me to comprehend.
I don't understand how that's hard to comprehend. Owen's got his head in his face. What did I? Oh, you're thinking of something else. I'm sorry. I thought you were reacting to what I just thought of there. Go ahead.
I don't understand because, understanding and knowing the playbook, I haven't heard the Browns say anything in regards to Shedeur is behind on any of that stuff. At least that we would understand.
Well, they would never say that he's behind on any of that stuff.
I think they're kind of, but aren't they by just the way they're acting?
Exactly, but they're not going to say that. But again, if he starts out further behind, then obviously, if we're talking about the smarts in the offense, Dillon ain't stupid. No one's calling Dillon Gabriel stupid. So if he starts off ahead, then he's probably going to be further ahead than what Shidor Sanders is. Well, it's not. They're looking at winning football games. Dillon Gabriel right now is more equipped to help them win a football game because they trust him with the offense more. Now, I can sit here and scream ceiling all I want, but if I can't trust him to go out there on the field, then he ain't going to have a chance to reach that ceiling. So I get where Kevin is saying or thinking, allegedly, that Dillon Gabriel would be further ahead in the offense. I'm just talking about a fan and their time and hey, let's go see the other guy. He might not be ready to do it, and they might just spike his career right then and there. So I can understand waiting there. But you asked me, I don't think it's a test to fail. 216-474-0092. Scott in Pennsylvania, you're first up on the Fan. Yellow.
Hey, good morning. Hey, love the show. Love you guys' insights. So I got a question for you real quick.
All right.
I believe we found our guy, and I really don't want this to happen. But what are your thoughts on play him or trade him with Shedeur?
I think that if you traded him, I think he'd probably be in the same situation somewhere else right now. I think what they're doing, they're trying to bring him along the right way. I know we're getting antsy, but I think that's the exact type of fan that I'm talking about right there, Anthony. Scott in Pennsylvania feels like his time may very well be wasted this year, and he don't want to waste any time. So he wants to see him. Or, you know what? If you're not going to play him, then go ahead and trade him, and let's get a pick, and let's get ready for the guy next year. I think that's what a guy's thinking there. If you like Shidor Sanders that much, and you think, well, then if you guys aren't going to work with him, you want him traded, I'm putting words in Scott's mouth here, but you probably don't have a lot of faith in the current regime. You're ready to move on from this current regime. You get your pick. We'll get our quarterback next year, and then there'll be no argument about it because he'll be a high pick, and they'll be ready to play him as soon as possible.
But that's the thing. I would trade Dylan Gabriel and Kenny Pickett before I trade Shedeur.
Hell yeah, because you know the ceiling, or you believe that there's a higher ceiling. You don't know the ceiling. None of us do, but you believe there's a higher ceiling there. But I can understand the circumstances of wanting to put Dylan Gabriel out there before Shedeur. I think there's a difference in over Shedeur instead of before Shedeur. Rob and Medina, you're next up on the Fan.
Morning, boys.
Morning, Rob.
Hey, so I have a scenario for you.
Okay.
Let's say on Saturday, Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel both go out there, look competent, look good. We go through the season. Joe Flacco takes us to 10-7 and a playoff berth. He quarterbacks in every game. Mm-hmm. And then next year, the quarterback class is as good as we think it is. What are we going to do then?
Probably trade both picks and go get a quarterback.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Have a great day, guys.
Rob, thank you very much. I mean, you might not like that answer. Lima, do you disagree?
I just think that hypothetical is probably the most unrealistic of all the hypotheticals.
Joe Flacco, they go 10-7?
Joe Flacco, based on what I saw last year out of Joe, too, playing the whole season on this team, taking them to the playoffs, like that's fun, man. We would have so much fun doing it. I find it very hard to even muster that in my mind.